friends. Happy. That's important. Recordings are always important when you're on a third line day. Make sure you double check, triple check your recordings. It's also Mercury retrograde. And the third line day is the most dangerous day of the rave week. Does that mean that the third line profile is also the most dangerous profile? I don't know. Let's see if it's true. Now, one of the things that I wanted to show you is if you go into mybodygraph.com and you click on the little transit icon, if you have the upgrade, you can have a transit chart combined with your human design chart. And that's quite nice because what it does for us is it helps us see the transit effect on us. So the sun is in gate 7, line 3, and it's grounded across the wheel and also in a mirror gate in the body graph into where the earth is. And you can see right here, it's connecting up with my own design to make a channel. So what we're going to look at is the effect of your own design on the transit, or in other words, again, the transit's effect on you, because all of us are experiments of consciousness in form, and all of us are designed to have a unique experience of what the transiting energies give us. Again, not that we're going to make the transits our gods that we're going to obey, the wandering stars, but that we are going to interpret this information the moment that you stop identifying with what's moving through you as unique to you when it's a transit. This is where you can use your decision-making process, your strategy, and being your own authority to now potentially leverage or take advantage of what's moving through you. When you are aware that what's happening to you is something, now it's from outside of you, but where we experience it and live it is inside of ourselves. So that's why the program, it is homogenization, because everybody's experiencing it. And yet everybody's going to experience it uniquely and differently. So we ourselves can experience the little voice inside of our heads that seems to be us because it speaks with our voice. And yet it's actually coming from outside of us. So hopefully by the end of this little tiny brief introduction to combining your transit chart with your own chart, you'll be able to see what I mean and use this wonderful tool from Jovian Archive, source of the human design system, mybodygraph.com, for you in your own interpretations, maybe daily. Maybe you do this daily. I do recommend, if you're studying human design professionally, that you either look at this first thing in the morning or last thing at night, whichever one works for you. Maybe you vacillate because you're an extremist, what to do. But use this especially when it comes to something happening that seems off kilter or out of whack or different. And you're like, what's going on? What's up? Because my mind said 9 times out of 10. I don't know if that's true, but most of the time I do know that anytime something really like big hits, I go and I look at the transit and I go, what's going on with me? You'll see me do that in my classes if you ever learn from me. I'll go, okay, I'm feeling, I'm hearing, I'm sensing something. We go look at the transits and I see, oh yeah, I'm getting a fixing. Oh, there's that gate. Okay, so this is the week of the rave week of the year, 2 weeks per year, where Lavina has to be very careful about what she shares because we're looking at witnessing, okay, and the secrets coming out potentially. So let's start over with the 7. You can see tomorrow I'll talk to you about how my 7 shows up, but you can see also that I'm getting an effect from the transit on my own 7. You see the little green arrow up there? That's called a fixing, okay? A fixing into the exaltation. So let's click on this. The transit chart, sun in gate 7, which is, for us, we know it is a leadership gate. So it's going to show you what kind of leader you are, regardless of whether you have this gate active as a planetary imprint in your natal design or not. This is a role gate, the role of the self in interaction with others. So the third line, if you have this in your design, is going to lead you to, the anarchist, to be learning about the rejection of any institutionalized order. It's not something that you were born with. So you find lots of us threes in institutions, and yet one of the things that happens is that over time we realign and we realize institutionalized order actually doesn't fit our model of leadership, if you will. So the moon exalts here, the constant need for change, no matter the prevailing conditions, the drive of the self to express many roles. And on the flip side, Mercury detriments the nihilist, the capacity of the self to deny value in any role. So the army, this role of the self in interaction, 70% of the neutrino energy stream bombarding you. If you've got the 31 on the other side, be very careful about taking leadership. Remember to follow your decision-making process. Honor your personal integrity of right action or your own authoritative process in order to know what to do. So if we go and look at Venus Saturn and we click on it, we can see that Saturn in 7-4, discipline, limitation, restriction, constriction, restraint. On the body side, this is the ability to exhale. Venus Saturn is in the abdicator, the willingness to accept the judgment of the people and the rule or the rule of law. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. But this capacity of the self through this week can accept the judgment of others. Now that's a fixing that's not normally in my design. And so it's not always correct for the self, this identity, to accept the judgment of others. Because on the flip side, it's the refusal of the self to accept the judgment of others. And that's one of the other extremes that I can learn about or live. And somewhere in the middle ground is where I find my particular truth, because I don't have a fixing in my normal natal design. I don't have Sun, I don't have Uranus here. But anytime I meet up with somebody who's got the 31, Sun or Uranus, or 7, Sun or Uranus, this is my experience of myself, my role in interaction with them. Okay, so now let's go look at the flip side of the coin, the opposition in the wheel. When it comes to Earth, always opposition in the wheel. And when you look at these two gates in the identity, the G, the higher self, you're always going to see that they are mirror gates to each other within the same circuitry. One is abstract, one is logic. And they mirror each other exactly, perfectly. If you were to split that body graph in half, butterfly it open, you see these two mirror gates. And that helps us understand the commonality. One's looking to the past experience, one's looking towards the future. Okay, so this is your genetic memory, if you've got a 13, looking or receiving information of what happened, looking at the past experientially. So gate 13, the fellowship of man, this gate of the listener. This is where, if you have a 13, you have lots of secrets. Earth here is standing for grounding, stability, and balance of that light of the army, the leadership today, as far as the transit that we're all going through. Third lines, all of you who are third lines profiles, public roles, you're going to experience listening to secrets and with pessimism when it comes, or not, maybe, pessimism, but particularly very strong pessimism, because you're learning in this life the belief that what is best can never be achieved. Now that's an umbrella line. That means you're learning over time. And that natural layer of pessimism is designed to be a protective mechanism so that you don't make all the mistakes, because that's what it is to be on a third line. You make mistakes, rightly so, as in take one, take two, the clapperboard. The path to riches is lined with mistakes. There are always going to be failed starts or things that don't actually come to fruition. But what if this was true? That the wealth was inside of you, that the internal process of banging into things and making mistakes, the resiliency, the adaptability taught you something gold, that gold to be mined, that truth that you can find in the experience. The earth, a lack of trust that can only be transformed through concrete evidence, Openness that is conditioned by suspicion and seeks evidence. This is why 13 threes will listen to you with a little air of pessimism. Where's the evidence? Where's the flaw? That's what the third line is here to find. Through the adaptability and resiliency to find what actually does work through the path of what doesn't, in order to share that mistake with others so that others don't have to make that same mistake as well. Now, on the flip side, because we've got it in Earth, we don't have the conditioning of the flip side of the coin. Remember, exaltation and detriments, two sides of the same thing. Unless you in your design have a Venus activation in the 13 or the 33, then you're going to get a little star, just like this one over here. You're going to get a little star right next to that activation because your own natal design is interpreting the transit in such a way that you are on either extreme end of the spectrum. So you're going to vacillate. It's called juxtaposition. You're going to vacillate to either this or that. There's no middle ground here. So pessimism exalted to an art form where as art, it may have the opposite effect, satire, where the rightness of suspicion can inspire satire. So that might be one of the ways that you experience this in your design. As you can see, not my truth as far as my experiential process. To be able to share this observation of this journey with you is a great gift. I would love to hear what your experience is down below, if this helped you. And if you have challenges in understanding the concepts, you know what to do. Ask questions. Looking forward to hearing from you on how this is all resonating or you're experiencing it. And again, remember, love yourself. You're the only one that knows the truth inherent within. You have a sovereign right of being, to be your own authority, and to love yourself unconditionally. You're the only one that can do that truly, uniquely, differently, and authentically. Until next time, namaste.